Okay, many people accuse me of being a doom merchant, a doom monger. All I talk about is negative stuff. Well, I've got something to cheer you all up today, or at least it should cheer you all up. But is there a catch? Is there a catch? They say there's no such thing as a free lunch. So when you get hit some good news, many people are wary. They're looking over their shoulder saying, what's the catch? Well, the good news today is that the Coolock IPAS Centre, International Protection Accommodation Services Centre, is not to proceed. It is not going ahead as planned. And of course, many of you can remember this time last year, or around about a year ago, things were very hot and heavy down in Kulock, with many of the local people taking to the streets. There was a lot of violence on the streets, a lot of public unrest. The guards were called in. They were extremely heavy handed with many, many people. There's a lot of footage going around of that. And of course, there was some shenanigans and skullduggery going on every corner. However, what was recorded and what was broadcast to the world certainly raised eyebrows and certainly drew a lot of attention into that area. The people in that area were rightly incensed that they didn't want a paint factory to be repurposed to turn into a migrant centre in their community. So they took to the streets and they protested against it. Now, the questions that need to be asked are, well, what's going to happen with the men that were proposed to go into that site in the first place? Now, Kulock is not the only place that there's been a win as such. Crooksling, Newton Mount Kennedy, Naas Centre has been dismantled. Tents are being moved off the streets. So the question is, well, where's everyone going? They're not being deported, because we know that only half the people that are told to get out of Ireland actually leave. And the two flights that have went out this year to Tbilisi in Georgia have carried a grand total of 71 people on them. So where are the people going that would have been going into somewhere like Kulock or going into Newton Mount Kennedy or anywhere else for that matter? I'm going to bring you the story right now, but before I do, just a reminder that tonight, Friday night, I believe there is another public assembly in Carrickmacross in County Monaghan. That's to follow on the momentum of the previous two public meetings and also the town hall meeting that was held there for residents as well, where they got to vent their spleens and again complain about landlords putting up spaces and people being put and planted into their areas, and the crime and the discomfort that's currently enforced there. That's happening tonight in Carrickmacross. Tomorrow afternoon in Belfast city centre, outside the City Hall, I believe there is a demonstration on there also. I think there'll be a counter protest on by the paid left wing. The right, the extreme left will be out there, no doubt, waving their pride flags, waving their Palestine flags, covering their faces, wearing their scarves, and shouting abuse and decrying the fact that we should just throw open the doors and let the whole world pile in, even though there's nowhere to put them. But no doubt they'll be out. So that's tomorrow afternoon in Belfast also. And lastly, if you can, subscribe to this channel, share the content of this channel, cut and paste it, dump it into Facebook groups, dump it into WhatsApp groups, send it to your friends, send it to your enemies. If you think it'll annoy someone you don't like, send my videos to them. It doesn't matter as long as they're getting out there. And consider joining the channel. There's a little join button up there. If you click on that, what will happen? What will happen? Will it make your life better? Will it make your life worse? I don't know. Why don't you click it and see? You'll get access to a weekly Q&A video that I record every Wednesday for members, when they can ask me to speak directly and give my thoughts, opinions and suggestions on various items that aren't covered here on the main channel. All of the content of which, of course, is absolutely free for you to watch and to comment on and to share as you see fit. So how's that for an introduction? Let's get down to business here. Kulock plans to accommodate asylum seekers at former paint factory in Kulock scrapped. I like the language. There were violent scenes at the site last summer after the government said it was considering building an IPAS centre there at the former paint factory. Yeah, violent scenes, that's an understatement. That's one scene, for example. And as you can see, Garda are very well trained. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, at least 11 of them to keep this guy on the ground. Full rat gear. holding him down and handcuffing him. I don't know what he did. I'm just saying. And when you look at the video that I put up earlier today of at least 15 to 20 armed guards in a public park in Dublin to break up a disturbance, it didn't look like they were making any arrests at that one, but they certainly arrested this dude. No arrests from what I could see last night, but no problem pinning this guy down and cuffing him, stuffing him, and chucking him back of a meat wagon. But anyway, that's another site. The place was torched. And of course, I don't condone violence. I don't advocate for it in any way, shape, or form. But people's blood pressure goes up, the temperature goes up. People are angry. People are aggravated. It's their back door. They don't like what's happening. The government don't listen. They dismiss people's thoughts, concerns, fears, opinions, completely throw them out, badmouth them, call them all types of names, slander them, smear them, and then say we're going to pile ahead with this anyway. You know, people are understandably wound up. And this is the result. In a letter to local reps, the DOJ said it is no longer considering this. Community engagement team said that delays with planning were one of the reasons they decided not to proceed. Yeah, there was a whole raft of planning problems around this as well, let alone the aggro that it was going to cause to the residents of Kulock. The prolonged nature of this progress through development and planning have been significant factors in the decision to continue the appraisal. Okay, they were significant factors. What about this? What about this? Was that a significant factor? Was it? The letter addressed to TDs, senators, and councillors said a number of other factors have also been considered. Oh, really? All offers of IPAS are appraised according to a range of factors, including the site and its potential value for money for the state. How about not having them at all? That's value for money. Zero. Zero expense. That's the best value for money you can get. Consider it. Put the money into building homes or repurposing vacant homes, of which there is a considerable stock, and put Irish families into them. There's only 15,000 people homeless at the minute, minimum, including 5,000 children in Ireland. How about that? How about you put the money into that instead? Consideration is also given to location and locality, access to services, resident welfare, health and well-being and the current level of need. What about the people in the area? What about their welfare? What about their welfare? Health and well-being. What about the health and well-being of the people that are in these areas, living there all their lives? Sinn Féin TD Denise Mitchell said she welcomed clarity, but said the IPAS should not have went in the first place. Wonder did she go out and protest? She said the protests and violence had a hard time for the locality and caused divisions in the area. Of course it did. Of course it did. That's not Kulock. That's not who the people of Kulock is. It was a hard time. We saw people living in the vicinity who couldn't get up and down the road, couldn't get home from work, and it split families. Happening all over the place. Happening all over the place. Thank you, government. So now it's time for Coolock to rebuild. Fabulous, fantastic community. But the government needs to step up. This lies on them. Wow. I wonder if these TDs been listening to independent media. That's what we've been saying all along. Blame the government. A lot of other factors in play, yes. And I know the government are only puppets of Europe. But the bottom line is, the fingers are starting to point towards the doll. Give the support we need in the community. Give us community centres, youth clubs, sports facilities, yeah. Help the mental health, help the physical well-being of your own youth. Independent councillor John Lyons said he was not surprised by the decision, saying he believed the government had messed up. Messed up, that's the understatement of the century, but fair play to you, Jim, or John, for pointing that out. Hadn't consulted properly with the local community. But so they've now learned a lesson. They're not going to be engaging in full consultation. He called on the government to apologise for the damage, division they had caused. Yeah, well, don't hold your breath on that one. Can you just see Mayhole getting up, sucking on a lemon like he normally does before he talks, or, not eating his fibre, so he gets that nice constipated look on his face as he mealy mouthed apologises in the doll. Do you think that's going to happen? But anyway, fair play for calling for it. Meanwhile, Social Democrat councillor Jessalyn Henry said she was happy a decision had been made. There'd been much anxiety, and she called on the government to ensure the plant or the paint factory is now used for good in the community. Yeah, maybe it should have been used for good in the first place. Called common sense. Sadly, not something that's in the possession of many people that are making decisions that impact and affect communities in Ireland at this time, north, south, east, west, and in the middle. So, anyway, that's enough for me for now. Just a reminder again, Carrick Macross. There's other gatherings going on, but I believe it all over the place. These are only two that I'm aware of right now. Check on social media. If you use X or Twitter or Facebook, you're in those groups, and look up your local area, see if there's anything going on. And if you feel led to go and support it, fair enough. If not, share the information, whatever. But for now, I'm Rick Munn, no risk, no reward media, over and out.